angry at the president or something like that, they'll go after you for that, too. And sometimes, and this definitely applies up here, we don't always help our own cause in preserving our right to communicate, do we? For example, this has even happened. I try to deprogram people who work at my little music label, Alternative Tentacles, where the people who book my shows, well, did you talk to that person? Well, yeah, I talked to them. Well, what did they say? Oh, I didn't really talk to them. I just emailed them. Talking to somebody and emailing somebody is not the same thing. It's not even really communicating, because communication is an equation. It has to reach the other end, and the other end has to at least receive and preferably respond. But if you just send off an email and doing your job done, you haven't done your job, have you? And it seems to me that when we think we're so technologically sophisticated with our fancy new instant this, instant that toys, why do we have to relearn the magic of real instant messaging? Or if you really need an answer from somebody over something important, it does not work to just, didn't you get my email? No. Imagine how instant the reply can be if you call them on the phone. It's amazing what happens with phones in the age of instant messaging. You ask somebody a question, they answer you. And then you can ask them another question. And then another. And then another. And suddenly you've got a month's worth of skinny emailing done in one day. Maybe even 1 minute or so. Why do we have to relearn these things? Another symptom of the disease. Text. I'm 50 yards away from you with the ball. But I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just sending you a text message. Or, next girlfriend of mine who's now living in L.A. met somebody at a club or a show or something, was talking to her, they were getting along really well, introduced herself. Oh, you're my MySpace friend. And then the woman walked away. She's like, oh my God, the illusion is shattered. A real person. I just liked you better when you were just one of my MySpace friends. I want to live in a world where I present myself as the imaginary, wonderful person, and all these other people I never really have to have any responsibility of being friends with will be my little virtual friends. It wasn't that long ago that living in a world of imaginary friends was considered a mental illness. Yeah. I mean, granted, phones are pretty amazing toys right now. Peeping Toms never had it so good. But I wonder when people are finally going to ask themselves, is this really progress when, wow, I just saw a whole Bon Jovi concert on my phone, available only to MCI customers, and Bon Jovi was about the size of a termite for an hour and a half on my phone, man. It was so cool. Some of us want more out of life. And then I sat next to a middle school English teacher on the plane on a transcontinental flight from San Francisco to New York. And she taught up in the Sacramento area in middle school, and she was just in despair over what her students were turning into with these toys, whereby she constantly had to interrupt what she was saying to get yet another student to pull their iPod phones out of their ears and listen to what was going on in class. And then when they were outside of class, when the bell rang, if they weren't busy talking on their phone or texting people and ignoring the world around them, if they're actually talking to one of their friends, they still have one of the iPod buds in one ear, so as not to miss out on anything important, like a song they'd already heard a million times or something. And some of them even come back to her, well, I can't stand the silence. It's even worse in Europe, which had a bigger techno boom than we did a few years ago. And now, waiting for a train station, or in a market or something, you cannot escape. Somewhere there's a little speaker going, sedative techno disco beat to keep everybody kind of calm. Audio Prozac for the insects sort of thing. And the teacher also said that the students' communication skills were just going down the toilet as a result of this. But she put it, but if I catch them individually and give them some love, they just eat it up. So is this deliberate isolation and cocooning totally the fault of those goddamn kids? No, I don't think it's the goddamn kids' fault. I mean, these are the first generation of people coming of age who had parents who would just throw them in the back seat of the SUV or the minivan, lower down a screen out of the roof, put on a DVD so they could make the kid watch TV so they never have to talk to them. Because they're too busy texting somebody else and talking on their cell phone when they're supposed to be paying attention to their driving. Or the ones who, oh, guess what you're getting for Christmas this year, dear? You finally get to have a TV and a computer in your room. So we have to interact with you and be reminded you're alive even less. That is what's creating this a lot, I think. And, the more we get into my spacing out, and even when we think we want to catch up on current events, Google Gaga, Google Gaga, Google Gaga, I only want to read about subjects I already have an opinion about and know about and I'm interested in, instead of opening up a newspaper or even Cursor or something and trying stuff you don't already know. All these things make us that much easier to manipulate, especially when we think we're so fucking smart and all. That's what's going on. I'm not saying all technology is bad or anything. I just think it's